Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Monday, August 12th, 2024. I am Dave Biddle, very happy joined by Dan Rubin. A lot of good stuff to get into. Buckeyes had a scrimmage on Saturday. Details are scant, but we got some details we're going to pass along to you, and we're going to push that forward. What does this mean for the rest of camp? Before we get to that, I want to let you know about our latest sponsor, HelloFresh. This is no joke. When I texted my wife and said, guess who one of our new sponsors is? HelloFresh. She goes, shut up. Why? Because we've been customers for like the last 5 or 6 years at least of HelloFresh, like consistent, like we get boxed like every month. So really cool. We all know home cooked meals are so much better for you, but you don't always have time to pull it off. But with HelloFresh handling all the meal planning, shopping, and most of the prep, it's easier than ever to get dinner on the table quick and painless. No more endless recipe searching or spending money on a whole jar of spices for only a pinch. With HelloFresh, everything you need to make delicious meals comes right to your door, pre-portioned and fresh. Plus, the included step-by-step recipe cards make cooking simple. I can attest. I made a Parmesan-crusted chicken dinner recently with mashed potatoes and carrots. It was really good. My oldest daughter was not here when I made it. She came home and ate the leftovers and could not believe it when she learned I cooked it and not my wife. So here's a deal you guys can get. For free breakfast for life, go to HelloFresh.com/freebuck. Go to HelloFresh.com/freebucknuts. HelloFresh.com/freebucknuts. One free breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life just by going to HelloFresh.com/freebucknuts. There you go. Yeah, it's good stuff, my friends. All right, let's get to it. Ohio State football, good stuff. We are 19 days away from the opener. They had a scrimmage, their first scrimmage on Saturday, and a lot of the offensive linemen were still out. So I'm like, oh, geez, this probably won't go well. But we're hearing the offense actually did pretty well, especially considering the fact that the O-linemen, many of them are still on the shelf because of the stomach bug that's going through. So the running game, it sounds like that it is on point already, which we were hoping would be the case with Chip Kelly coming to town, Dan Rubin. So I like what I'm hearing here. They're not going to go against a better defense than this one. If they're able to move the ball somewhat consistently, which it sounds like they did. Sounds like Will Howard had a sharp day. Sounds like Devin Brown made his share of plays too. This is usually when he shines, is these scrimmage situations. But we'll get to Will Howard and when I think that's going to be named in a minute. But I was encouraged by the little bit of details that I heard from the scrimmage, Dan.
Yeah, scant being the operative word there. And when you don't get a chance to put your eyes on it, it's a little different. And we all know that, certainly in modern football, scrimmaging and preseason action and stuff like that is not what it used to be. I imagine had you had access to this scrimmage 10, 15 years ago, you probably would have emerged from that with a much better sense of exactly who is going where. I think right now there's a heavy focus on keeping people healthy. And the stuff we did here, like you mentioned, is encouraging. I've talked about this ad nauseum and people have commented on it. The recency effect is still kicked in here. So we all need to see the offense move up and down the field probably a few times to fully wash away our lingering memories of the end of last season. So I'm very encouraged from what I've heard. Man, every time I try and think about something compared to last year, and I know this is Bucknuts and I am a card-carrying homer, but it just seems like every step or every time I consider, I'm like, wow, that's better than last year. Wow, that's better than last year. And it's not even just the Ohio State stuff. The other teams we're going up against, you can maybe make an argument for Oregon. They're not apexing. You know what I'm saying? Like some of those teams are in flux in certain spots where we were in flux. The quarterbacks, man, I saw, and I'm kind of pulling us off track here, but I saw the Heisman odds for next year. It's a very, I think Dylan Gabriel's number one, or he's close to it, or Carson Beck. And those guys are nice players. But that's not two guys who are going, there's no tank for Tua. You know what I'm saying? For those guys.
Right.
No, we shouldn't have tanked for Tua, but I think you follow what I'm saying.
Low for Burrow.
Yeah, that would have been smart.
Bengals
it's very interesting at every level, even the coaching staff, the way we're set up, the way we're set up at quarterback as opposed to other teams, the depth at certain spots. So I'm just very, I like I said last week, this is the first time we've headed into the season in a good while where I would pass a lie detector test saying I thought we had the best team and we're going to win the national championship. So very optimistic, and it's sunny in Southwest Ohio, about 75 and sunny today. San Diego like weather, so everything's going great, Dave.
And it looks like it's going to stay that way for a while. I was looking at the extended forecast. I can dig it. All right, let's get to this. Oh, you guys want to know about quarterback? Don't we all? Now, I was thinking before, the media schedule kind of changed next week. I'll get to that. This week, they're kind of on lockdown, like right now, a little bit because so much has been open and when practices haven't been open, we've had media availability after practice. We're still over there talking to the guys and seeing a little bit as we come off the field. Not this week, except for Thursday. Thursday, we're meeting with Ryan Day after practice. We don't get to see practice. Ryan Day, Chip Kelly, and Jim Knowles. I said last week on the show, I was predicting Monday the 19th would be when Ryan Day, so a week from today. But he's not meeting with us a week from today. My friends, I think it will be this week, and I think it'll be Thursday. I think he's going to name Will Howard the starting quarterback. That's just a guess because I don't think he wants to wait till the week of the game. So that's why I was thinking he would probably do it the week before the week of the game, which would be the week of Monday the 19th. But I think this Thursday might be our date. I think if I could put a little scratch on that, Dan Rubin, I'd put a little bit of coin on that.
You'd probably be the one to follow on that. It's interesting. I think it's just a formality at this point, especially in light of the, media availability we've gotten this past week. Ryan Day, you can probably pattern out a quarterback competition and be like, on this day, he starts saying one guy is separating. And on this day, the receivers talk and say, wow, this guy's showing veteran leadership. And you can probably apply that to several other camps that are doing quarterback challenges now.
Denzel Burke has gone from this to, oh, he's a dude.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
You can plot it. So formality at this point, which is a good thing. It would not have been a good thing at this point if we didn't know. That would actually be a questionable transfer take in William Howard, but I think we're in good shape.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't bring him here to be the backup. It's just we've talked about it ad nauseum, and Ryan Day does not say things like, Will Howard has complete command of our offense if he's not going to be the starting quarterback. You don't say that. He didn't say anything like that last camp about anybody. Complete command. Not like he's showing signs of having command of the offense. He's showing signs of – no. Will Howard has complete command of the offense. Quote, Ryan Day. This Thursday, my friends. All right, there's a lot of other stuff to get into. I'm going to talk about a couple of second-year D linemen that I talked up coming into the year that I thought would break out. One looks to be having a really good camp. The other, for some reason, has not cracked the 2 deep yet. He's still running with the 3s. Caden McDonald's having a great camp. When we're out there now, we haven't seen them go all out. But when we're out there, man, this guy, man, is he strong. He's your ideal one tech, and he's a backup. Jason Moore, though, is running with the 3s, has not cracked the 2 deep yet. I'm not sure what he's struggling with, but I hear he's still a little bit behind for whatever reason. So interesting there. I thought both those guys would be key backups, and I'm still bullish on Jason Moore. Larry Johnson wouldn't have said he has, the ability to be the ideal 3 tech in our defense if he wasn't high on Jason Moore. But looks like for now, Caden McDonald's going to be that first, D tackle off the bench. Maybe Hero Kane will be the second, and then maybe Jason Moore after that. That's what I'm seeing, Dan. So a little surprised that Jason Moore's not making more of an impact. No surprise that Caden McDonald's making an impact.
Yeah, I'm definitely surprised. I was very high on Jason Moore. Had been since he was the All-Met Player of the Year in D.C. from the Washington Post, played at DeMatha. Go look at that team. There are guys on the first team that did not get Player of the Year who are in the pros right now. But I digress. It's definitely disappointing that Jason Moore maybe hasn't busted out yet, but we haven't had really this much this much. That guy's a troll. Can you get rid of him?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you are a wokester, though, Dan.
Yeah, pretty woke over here.
I already had to delete some. I got to be really careful because one time I deleted, trying to delete a troll, ban them, and one of our, I think now she hates me because I banned her. But no, I'm kidding. Lynn's Breezy, one of our loyal listeners and commenters, I accidentally banned her because I clicked on it and it's fast and furious over here. So I actually banned the wrong person. So I got to be careful when I do that now. But there, I banned your buddy there. Go ahead, sir.
It's impressive. Some of these guys, you'd think they live in their mom's basement or something with the amount of time they spend on this. This has been going on for years, but stick-to-itiveness. You got to give them some credit for that. Like I was saying, the depth of defensive tackle is strong, and I'm happy about that. The depth of the defensive line across the board is ridiculous. I was just thinking the other day about Caden McDonald and Kenyatta Jackson. I can't even believe they came back. That every other program, those two guys would have found out about the vets coming back and would have boogied.
Especially Jackson entering his third year. Yeah, I mean, with McDonald only entering his second year, I get that. You're right. I mean, with Kenyatta Jackson, that's like, wow.
No, not McDonald. Not McDonald. I meant, if I said that, I spoke incorrectly. I meant Kenyatta Jackson and Caden Curry.
That's and Curry. Maybe I misheard you. I don't know. But yeah.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I tell you what, man, Caden McDonald, dude, and he's a backup. Like if he was a starter right now, I'd be gushing about him. I love our starters Tyleik Williams. Are you kidding me? He should be in the NFL right now. I'm not saying he would have been a first-round pick, but I bet he would have been a second-round pick. And Denzel Burke. It's just crazy all the guys that came back.
Tyleik, when I had Dane Brugler on, Tyleik was his highest-rated Buckeye going into this season. And he says he's got a chance.
Dane Brugler was very high on Chris Jenkins from Michigan. When the Bengals drafted him in the second round, he was saying that's a great pick. And reports out of Cincinnati, no bueno so far on Chris Jenkins. So
you're saying defensive tackles from Michigan sometimes don't live up to the hype? How about defensive ends?
Yeah, I was going to say how you have PTSD from Taco Charlton in the first round of your Cowboys and then Mozzie Smith. Yeah, Bengals 3 straight years have used either a first or a second round pick on Michigan defenders. Dax Hill, bust. DJ Turner might be a solid pick last year, entering a second year. I kind of like that one. And it looked Chris Jenkins very early, but
can I make a prediction?
Very early. But they're saying he just gets washed out every time.
You know what they say? I'll bet I have not watched 1 ounce of coverage. I'll bet they say he's late getting off the ball.
It's not because even he's strong at the point of attack. He's not big enough.
Now listen. So Michigan's players apparently are much more react than attack. So they're all slow off the ball. There was an issue in camp with Mozzie Smith last year. They couldn't understand. He was the slowest guy off the snap. One guy went and did a breakdown of Michigan and stuff, and that's how they were taught to play. So thanks very little to that entire dumpster fire.
Yeah, and then the jokes write themselves. You know, you get on message boards, and it's like Bengal message boards, and people are like, well, if you just give Chris Jenkins, like, the opposition's play before every snap, he probably is not going to get, like, destroyed. Everybody's got jokes. Everybody should get Goodr sunglasses, and you guys can get a great deal because I like this one. This is my go-to Operation Blackout. You know, I've joked before. One of the great things about Goodr, you know, they start at just $25 a pair. As if if you lose them or you break them, good luck trying to break these. But I could probably try to break them and I wouldn't break them. But I've joked before, not joked. If you lose them, okay, and go, pay 20. You're only out $25. And I hadn't lost any yet. Then I lost one of my my favorites here. So I got 2 of them, Operation Blackout. I went on Goodr.com and bought 2 pair of Operation Blackout. Why Goodr? They're stylish, no slip, no bounce, all polarized, all fun. You get a 1-year warranty, 30-day free returns. Again, start at just $25. They also have a new product launched, the Retro G. I'm going to need to get these. New vintage inspired shades. As always, these won't slip or bounce. The Retro Gs are available in 4 colors. And Dan and I have a favorite name of the bunch. It's called Threaten Me with a Good Time. Threaten Me with a Good Time. I love the names they have. If you want to support the show and try a pair, Goodr is giving Bucknuts Morning 5 listeners free shipping. You can go to Goodr.com/Bucknuts and use code Bucknuts for free shipping. Goodr offers a 30-day money-back guarantee and 100% satisfaction. Again, that's Goodr.com/Bucknuts. Use code Bucknuts for free shipping. There you go. All right. Justin Fry, what are we doing with this? Listen, if they go and they win the national title and, and the offensive line looks good, all will be good, right? But, like, man, it's like I'll say this, Dan. I'm glad Tim Drevno's in town to help him, and I'm really glad Chip Kelly's here. That mitigates, I think, any concerns I have of Justin Fry as an O-line coach. Certainly is, leaving a lot to be desired on the recruiting trail, but just I'll tell you what, I mean, having Tim Drevno here, former Michigan offensive coordinator, over his head as an offensive coordinator. We've seen that before. You can still be a good O-line coach. Ed Warner, hello. I'm not saying he's going to be Ed Warner. I thought Ed Warner was a really good O-line coach, but I like having Drevno here, kind of mitigate, and especially Chip Kelly. Dan, it mitigates some of my concerns about Justin Fry.
Yeah, you had mentioned that you originally thought that the quarterback would be announced on the 17th, I believe. Or you say 17th or the 19th?
19th, because I thought we were meeting with Ryan Day a week from today, but we're not. But we are meeting with him this Thursday. So now my new prediction is this Thursday he's going to name QB1. We'll see.
So we do the show a week from today, and I may be doing it in a disguise. Because our guy, Mr. Sanders, is committing on the 17th. So the first show after his commitment will be Dave and I wearing Goodr sunglasses to hide our identity. Go Secret Service on you guys. I would be remiss if I did not share my pessimism with the David Sanders commitment. Boy, it really does seem like he's going to Tennessee. I don't really have anything else to say about that except that it's very disappointing. I guess, unfortunately, somewhat predictable. I hate to say that out loud because I was very optimistic, or at least I told myself that. So we'll see. It's not looking good for Justin Fry. Could not be a nicer dude in a social setting that I've seen him in and chatted with him. Really enjoyed talking to him. But it's almost gotten a little bit bizarre. Look, we do have Carter Lowe coming into the program, who is, I believe, the first player outside the 5 stars, according to the 24/7 Sports ranking. So you're talking about an elite top 3 or 4 offensive linemen in the country. But there is a trend now where they have pushed all their chips into the middle for an elite guy and have come up empty several times in a row now. Look, we have the Armstrong brothers coming. There's some good guys coming in Ohio over the next few years. So really the base of the offense should be in good shape. Offensive line wise, we are never the same if we don't have a couple fine Ohioans to anchor the whole deal. But it's disappointing, dude. And it's almost bizarre just because I can't think of another position where this is happening. I mean, there was a time when nobody could get quarterbacks, and now we've had multiple first-round quarterbacks. And we're wide receiver U. They've always recruited on the offensive line. We've got 2 of the best running backs in the country. The best defensive player walking planet Earth, arguably, that wasn't in the NFL, transferred here.
Right.
We have 5-star linebackers we're trying to work out. And like, oh, which 5-star is going to be better than the other one? Duh. It's like, it doesn't make, and then offensive line, we just don't seem to be able to recruit on a national level, at least the way we recruit the other positions. I mean, Tim Walton is Heartline-esque, you know, I mean, so I have a hard time explaining it. And you and I both know it's not NIL related. I know everyone wants to, it's an easy kind of patterned response. It is not NIL related. You can't take credit for all the other. It's not like the money comes in and people are like, hey, give this to the recruits. Don't give it to an offensive lineman. That's never happened. They have the resources. Okay. That's not the problem. So right. I'm at a loss. I almost feel like we need to do a deep dive on it on some sort. I wish I had a better answer for the Nutters. I really do.
Yeah, I have no idea. And you're right. You're completely on point about the NIL. That's funny. Can you imagine at the foundation event, we're talking about the great things they're doing, and then they say, you know, one thing we don't do is just go after offensive linemen, though. Like, no, right. no, they're going after offensive linemen. NIL is on point at Ohio. So speaking of being on point, I mean, it couldn't be any better. It's so bad that other big time programs are complaining about Ohio State buying the best roster. It's like, I love it. When you have like Alabama and Georgia complaining about what Ohio State's doing, that's when you know you're doing something right. Sure. Let's get to this, because I was going to kind of touch on some of this. I like how Rick on Facebook is just talking about, he's like, a lot of black stripes announced recently. I was going to talk about James Peoples. James Peoples, we know for sure, is going to be the number 3 tailback, which means he's one play away from being the number 2 tailback. And dare I say, I'm not going to say it, but this kid's going to come right in, and let's say he stays number 3 tailback all year and the top 2 guys stay healthy. I still think he's going to be a solid part of this offense. It's a long season. There's going to be blowouts. I think he's going to be a guy, even if he's the 3rd tailback all year, I think he's going to have around 350-ish rushing yards. And this kid, very bullish on his future. I've said this before. He reminds me of Boom Herron, but maybe better. And I say that, Boom Herron played in the NFL, is a very good running back here. I think he's going to be a better version of Boom Herron. Reminds me a lot of Boom. A little bit bigger than Boom. And Boom was, I think, was about 5. I think maybe they're both listed at 5'10". I think I have to go back. Boom maybe was listed at 5'9". I'd have to go back and look. But he's listed at 5'10", 203. Peoples is. For him to get his black stripe off this early, very impressive. Edric Houston got his black stripe off recently. Jalen McClain, we keep hearing great things about him. I mean, J-Book was talking on Friday's show, Dan, that McClain is so physical in practice. They've almost had to kick him out of practice a couple times because they're not hitting. They're supposed to just be thudding up, and he's in there just trying to wreck shop. We don't need you to decapitating any of our wide receivers in practice, young freshman. Then again, though, you love that a freshman's coming in here and doing that. And a guy, Dan, that nobody expected would. It's not like McClain was like this big-time recruit coming in here. Now, he flashed in the spring, so that's why it's not a huge surprise, but man, so those are 3 guys that got their stripe off recently: Peoples, Edric Houston, and McClain.
I said this when one of the threads went up. I think it was the one for Edric Houston. I like the order in which the black stripes have come off. Number 1, Jeremiah Smith. Number 2, Julian Sand. You said it. Jalen McClain getting his black stripe off 3rd. That means something. Number 4, Edric Houston. Number 5, James Peoples. If you had to ask yourself 5 guys that they think are going to be able to contribute possibly this year, that's your 5 to start off with. Jalen McClain being the one that I doubt he'll get a ton of playing time, but that is an absolutely strong statement. I mean, the Jeremiah Smith one was – I've never seen a freshman get this much juice, even from the media. Like, he gets to have interview time in like where the seniors would be. And there's no one questions it, by the way. It's just like, here he is saying, we know, we've all heard about that. And then Edric Houston, tremendous. James Peoples. I'm a little higher on James Peoples than I would think if it was Boom Herron. He's a little bit bigger, a little bit faster also, north-south. Both played great high school football. I'm thinking, I think Boom was from up in Warren, where it's nice and tough, and Peoples from Texas. So, very impressive. I could see him going over 350 if there's a couple big-time blowouts, and he's like the one they use to ride it out a couple times. And as crazy as this sounds, I don't know if people remember this. When Dallin Hayden was actually given the ball, he rushed for well over 100 yards in one game, one of those MAC games they had, or early on games. It can be done. So,
and against Maryland.
Was it Maryland?
Well, again, against Maryland, it was the week before the Michigan game. He kind of saved their ass over against Maryland.
Yeah,
Hayden rushed for over 100 yards, and they don't play him against Michigan the next week.
Yeah, someone needs to write a book about that at some point. The running back rotation over the last few years. Nothing was goofier than getting the. I've said this. We would get the injury report on Wednesday, and I'd be like, did I watch the game last week? The guys I thought were hurt are healthy. The guys I thought were healthy are hurt. Why don't we just go get Quinshon Judkins from Ole Miss? And we did. So all good there.
Yeah, there was a mistake on the initial roster. They have corrected it. People are saying that it says Cisse is listed as a DB. He was, and he's now listed as a running back. Talking about true freshman walk-on Rashid Cisse. And with TC Caffey out for the year, he's now your number 5 tailback. Rashid Cisse, welcome in, young man.
Yeah.
So, okay, Will linebacker. I want to close with that. I think Sonny Styles is going to try it out there at the starters. They haven't said that officially, but I'll be surprised if he's not. But I also think CJ Hicks is going to play a ton. They gush about CJ Hicks's ability to rush the passer. Sonny has now found a home. He was a little bit miscast as a safety. I liked having a guy back there that was like a bigger Sean Taylor. That appealed to me. But he's a linebacker. He's 6'4", 240 pounds. I love the role they're going to have for Sonny at that will linebacker spot. I like what I'm hearing about the Mike linebackers and seeing behind Cody Simon, who's definitely the starter. But there, I like Gabe Powers. I like Arvell Reese, a guy people don't talk about enough. CJ Hicks is still going to play a lot. I don't think he's going to be a starter, but Sonny Styles, I think he is going to be that starting will for those who are wondering. But, man, both those guys are going to play a lot, Dan. Both those you were talking about earlier. Man, who's going to be our will linebacker? Is going to be this 5-star entering his junior year or this 5-star entering his junior year? So I think it'll be Sonny, but both those guys are going to be key parts of this defense.
We got the chance to sit with CJ and a couple of other dudes at the 937 table. CJ said as he sat down with us at the foundation from right up the street here at Alter. We've talked a lot about the linebackers, and I actually think when it's all said and done, I'm not going to say it's much ado about nothing. I think we've gotten used to the idea of a lack of rotation at running back just because that's what our eyes have seen. And Eichenberg and Steel Chambers really played the majority of the snaps. If you go look at the statistics, snaps, tackles, everything that would go along with that, those guys were way up there in terms of percentage versus the rest of the linebacker group. So I think what you're going to see now is, and I've heard James Laurinaitis talk about this, more guys are going to play. Laurinaitis talked about the different combinations they've had in there. They've got more talent that's a little bit older with CJ and Sonny getting a little bit more veteran. So while I do think it'll be interesting to see Sonny run out there first, and we make a big deal here sometimes about who starts, I think we should look at snaps. I think they're going to be a little bit more situationally based. I would like to see CJ and Sonny in there together at times. So I think it's going to be, everyone's going to get the chance to make plays this year. And I know that one of the real themes we have here at Bucknuts every year is the vibe that we don't play the younger players enough. I actually don't think that's going to be as big of an issue going forward, because I do think the coaches are a little bit, I don't say freaked out, very wary of the added games with the playoff, very wary of the fact that they may have worn down a little bit down the stretch last year. So I could see them focusing on a rotation earlier on, and the schedule is not as hard as it was last year. Let's just be honest about that. It's not. That's not to say they're guaranteed to go undefeated, but it's not as hard as it was last year. So you have a better chance to have more lopsided scores, get more balance in there. So we are good to go. And Mika, yes, Bill Kurlick will be back tomorrow.
Back today? Oh, back tomorrow on the show, yeah. And he's back today on Bucknuts, already posting updates. Got back from his well-deserved vacation. So good to have the Dean back. Yeah, I'm sure Mika's talking about tomorrow's show. Yeah, and he's already back on Bucknuts right now, posting updates. So get on the site and check out what the Dean has to say. Appreciate it. Great stuff from Dan Rubin. Thanks to Dan. Thanks to all of you for tuning in. We appreciate it. Hope everyone has a great rest of your day. If you're still with us, I do have one more read, but I did want to sign off for those that just, want to stop the show now. But, Patrick Murphy, our colleague, recently, got engaged. And as you guys know, Pat's a big fan of Joy Mode. I think those two things are related. I don't know. And I think I speak for most men when I say we want to have better sex. And for the sake of our partner, we may need to. The issue is that over-the-counter pills contain unregulated chemicals, suggest unsafe doses, and include the risk of several other health problems. That's why we partnered with our friends over at Joy Mode. Whether you're looking to spice up your intimate moments or increase your confidence in the bedroom, Joy Mode makes all natural and science-backed supplements dedicated to helping men perform better across their core functions. Go to usejoymode.com/bucknuts and get 20% off with code Bucknuts at checkout. That's 20% off and free shipping with code Bucknuts at usejoymode.com. Bucknuts at usejoymode.com/Bucknuts. All right. Thanks again to Dan Rubin. Thanks to all of you. Hope everyone has